Hey everybody,
Hi.
welcome to another episode of Questlog.
It's a segment. It's real. It's a real segment.
For anyone who's new, this is a segment we do now and then where we just talk about something that we feel like talking about.
Just talk
Usually
about
if
it.
like a new movie or TV show or game came out.
Feelings,
Although if it's a game, we usually just play the game.
thoughts.
But yeah, today we're going to talk about Avengers Endgame, which just came out, or at least I'm going to talk about it. Clark didn't see it because he doesn't like Avengers.
I don't care about the adventures.
And then if people are interested, we might also talk about the new season of She-Ra and the last few episodes of the new season of Game of Thrones, although that's not complete yet.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll do a quest log when it is complete, but that won't be for a few weeks. We just watched the latest episode of Game of Thrones, so my brain is kind of like still in that zone.
Yep.
But anyway, spoiler alert for all three of those things, just in case we do talk about them. You've been warned. If you haven't seen any of those things, maybe click out of this video, go watch them, and then come back. So, Avengers Endgame just got released. I went to see it with Rogue One, and I liked it, actually. I was a little worried, because sometimes with the movies where it's not an individual superhero, but all of them together, they sort of like, they have to get rid of the character development and plot, and focus more on the, like, this quote-unquote story and the action, and sometimes that makes it bad. But they did a pretty good job, I thought. Hi, C. Dewey. Oh, I already said hi to you.
It's okay. Just keep saying hi. Hi, C. Dewey.
I love you 3000 as well. Okay, if you don't want us to talk about Game of Thrones, we won't. Or if we talk about it later, we'll let you know before we start talking about it.
No.
So, I'm gonna assume anyone watching this has already seen Infinity War, so I don't need to, like...
I haven't seen it.
I guess you haven't seen it, that's true. But you sort of know what happens.
What happens?
I'll give you a brief recap. Hi, Rogue One.
Hi, Rogue One.
So in Infinity War, you know how like all the movies leading up to Infinity War, or sort of the individual movies, were connected by the Infinity Stones, and it was all leading up to that, to all the stones getting together, and Thanos was like behind the scenes this whole time trying to gather them, and then he finally got them all, and he snapped his fingers, and half of the all living creatures in the universe just vanished.
Pretty
And
funny.
yeah, it was a good joke. And that's how Infinity War ends. And I know a lot of people were kind of shocked because, like, the Avengers lost. I was
pretty funny.
Yeah, I was surprised because I didn't know that it was basically going to be a two-part thing. I thought it was just the one movie. So when that happened, I was like, what? So going into it, what I thought was going to happen, and I know a lot of people kind of, there were a lot of fan theories about how they were going to save everyone. And I think the most prevalent theory was that they would defeat Thanos pretty early on, get the Infinity Stones back, and use them to reverse time or something, or go back in time, or do something so that basically the last movie didn't happen, or they win instead of lose. And that sort of happens, but I was actually pleasantly surprised by how they went about it. Because they go to find Thanos, and they do defeat him immediately. Because he basically is like, my work is done, I don't care anymore, I'm just a farmer now.
He's a farmer?
Well, maybe not a farmer, but he like just lives on this planet by himself and like collects these fruits to make food for himself and just hangs out. He's like retired or whatever.
Retired? From what? Killing everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they barge in And they have Captain Marvel now, which if they had her earlier, they probably wouldn't have lost in the first place. So that's too bad for them. But they immediately defeat him, and they're like, "Where are the stones?" And then he's like, "Oh, I've destroyed him." Yep. He used the stones to destroy the stones. So they can't use them to undo everything. And then they kill him, and then everyone is depressed and sad about it. Because they can't think of a way to bring everyone back. And then 5 years go by. And then Ant-Man, who this whole time was stuck in this like quantum time abyss thing, I don't remember what it's called. He was stuck there because at the end of his movie, he went there and then his team was supposed to pull him out, but they got vanished in the snap. And then, so their like van thing machine, oh, it's called the Quantum Realm? Thanks, Dewey.
It's called the what?
The Quantum Realm.
What is?
The place he was trapped.
Who?
Ant-Man.
Who's that?
He's a man who is an ant.
That seems wrong. I don't
Hey,
believe
Gino's
you.
in Smash.
Yeah, I know, right? Who's Ant-Man?
Sakurai did it.
Who's Ant-Man? Why are you avoiding the question?
He's a hero who can change his size.
What? Can he become big?
Yes.
Wait, really? How come he never does that? How come he's always small?
He does do that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's never done it.
He did it. I think he's done it in every movie he's been in.
Wrong.
It's like his thing is to go big or small.
Well, why is he called Ant-Man then?
He didn't pick the name. That
Who
was like
picked it?
one of the jokes in his movie.
Oh, who picked the name?
Paul Rudd is Ant-Man.
Who's Paul Rudd?
He's an actor.
Okay, but how did he get the name Ant-Man if he didn't pick it?
His like mentor guy picked it.
What? Did he have any say, or was he just like, you're Ant-Man?
Oh yeah, that's right. He can also talk to ants.
What?
I forgot about that.
Does that ever come into play?
Yeah, he like flies on a flying ant. And stuff like that. I don't know. Ant-Man is like the okayest of the Avengers.
That's such a good title.
Yeah. He's not terrible like some of them, but
Who's
he's
terrible?
not great.
Which is the worst one?
I don't like Stephen Strange.
Oh, right.
He's probably cooler in the comics, but in the movies, I didn't like him. His mentor was the original Ant-Man from the 50s.
Really?
In the comics, anyway.
Well, I don't care about the comics, so those don't fucking count. This is the cinematic universe.
So anyway, going back to my synopsis. So Ant-Man was stuck in the quantum realm, and their like makeshift portal thing that they use, which was just their shitty van, because it was seemingly abandoned, it got put into a storage unit. And then this, I think it was like a rat or something, just happened to crawl across the buttons, and he got shot out. And then he's like, "What the fuck happened?" And he finds out about Thanos and how everyone's gone. And then he goes to talk to the Avengers about it, and he's like, "I have a theory. What if we use the quantum realm to time travel instead of the stones?" And they're like, "Okay." And they go talk to Tony Stark about it, because he's the genius. And Tony has like conflict because in the 5 years that passed, now he has a kid with Pepper, and he's worried that if they like change time and stuff, then it might erase his daughter or something.
Do you think there's any fan art of Brony Storm?
Yes.
Well, it's Carmen. Oh, fuck you, Carmen. I killed Anne.
So yeah, so at first Tony's like, I don't want to do it. So then they go get Bruce Banner instead, because he's the other smart guy on the team.
Has Bruce Banner done anything smart?
Oh, and then like, I have mixed feelings about what they did with Bruce. I don't know if it has like background in the comics or something, but apparently since the last movie, he like decided instead of trying to fight against being the Hulk, he embraced it. And now this whole movie, he was like a cross between Bruce Banner and the Hulk. And it was really weird to me. I didn't know how to feel about it.
Wait, so he was like half Hulk?
Yeah, so he was like the size of Hulk, and he was green and stuff, but he looked more like facially he looked still more like Mark Ruffalo, and he had all of his intellect still. Oh yeah, Professor Hulk is the thing in the comics. I see. I figured it probably was. It would have been really weird if they just decided to do that. Because I knew She-Hulk kept her intellect. All of his intellect and none of his rage. Yeah. I don't know, it felt weird to me. But anyway, so that was his deal. So they went to him, and he was all like, I'm a scientist, but my science field is different. And then but he still tries to help, and they try to make a time machine, but it doesn't really work, and they're like wacky hijinks about it. Ant-Man gets turned into a baby for a minute. And then, oh yeah, and then Hawkeye, like, they finally gave Hawkeye more screen time and character development, and all it took was for him to become super angsty because his whole family died.
What an asshole.
So, that, on one hand, I was glad that, because I really like Hawkeye in the comics, so on one hand I was glad that he got, like, more of a starring role, but on the other hand, it's like, they really had to put him through some shit. Felt bad. But anyway, so they get Hawkeye to come back, because in the past 5 years, because he's been all angsty, he just went around slaughtering, like, gangs and Yakuza and stuff.
Wow, that's lame. What an arc.
Yeah.
I didn't know Hawkeye was a fucking cop.
Yeah, he becomes Ronin, which is, I guess, one of his alter egos in the comics when he's all angsty. I never read those. You got her.
They made Makoto a novice spirit. That's bullshit. She's too good for that. Hey, look.
It's the same person.
I love it.
It's just like when they had Rivali and Falco.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they get the gang back together. Tony Stark.
I thought Hawkeye hated gangs.
I guess he made an exception for this one. Tony talks to Pepper, and she talks him into making the time machine to help save everyone. So he goes and does that, and then they call everyone back, but I guess Captain Marvel was too far away helping other planets or something, because she doesn't come help. If she did, the movie would be like way shorter probably. But like everyone else shows up.
Oh no.
And here's where it actually got pretty cool, because I thought they'd just do like, oh, we're just gonna time travel, get the stones. But what they did was they split up into teams, and they go to different times in previous movies where the stones were, and I thought that was really cool. Because oh yeah, and Thor's fat now, which is pretty great.
Relatable.
He's got like a massive beer belly.
Look, I'm right there with him, alright? Don't be shitty to Thor.
But yeah, because like I said, all the movies leading up to this, the thing that connected them was the Infinity Stones. So for them to go back to those movies to get the stones was a really cool twist, in my opinion. And it also allowed for some pretty fun little moments where they poked fun at previous movies. And like characters made fun of themselves in the past and stuff. So I liked that. Yeah, Thor is depressed because he failed to kill Thanos before the snap happened. And then he killed Thanos afterwards, but it was like very obviously like not satisfying at all to him. It just made him worse.
I feed the cat.
Feed him.
Feed the cat snacks.
Feed that kitty cat.
Eat the snacks! Eat the snacks!
Nebula had probably the biggest role she's ever had, which I thought was cool, and she got a lot more character development. I liked that. But yeah, they all go back in time to different movies, and then, like, you know, shit goes wrong, of course, because it always does. And then I guess because of plot convenience, when Nebula goes back in time, she, like, Bluetooth connects to her past self, and through that, past Thanos finds out what they're up to, and tries to stop them.
No. How does Thanos do that? Does Thanos have... did it show up, like, on his networks?
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. I don't have a network
So...
in my neighborhood named Nebula. Hey, wait a friggin' minute.
So Nebula is like a cyborg, and she's more like robot than human, or not human, but whatever alien species she is. And one of the things she can do is, like, she can record stuff into her memories and then play it like a hologram. And for some reason, two Nebulas being in the same time line or whatever fucked up her system, and then it glitched out and very conveniently showed what was happening with the other Nebula, with the good Nebula, and revealed their plan to Thanos.
No.
So Thanos makes a whole plan to, like, now, basically they capture good Nebula and switch her out with the bad Nebula. And bad Nebula goes back to the present. And then when they're all back in the present and they have all the stones and they're, like, making a new gauntlet, for some reason, I don't know if it's explained why they need a gauntlet. I don't know if they, if they literally just can't use the stones without a gauntlet. Seems like a very strange and specific limitation. Feed Ryuji.
Feeding Ryuji for real.
He's a growing boy.
He's max level now.
Finally. But anyway, they make their own gauntlet. And Hulk does a snap to bring everybody back. And
bring everybody back was a snap.
Yep. And they bring them back in the present. Which, on one hand, I guess does make sense, because, like, if they just fucked with time, who knows what paradoxes or whatever shit that might do. But on the other hand, as Rogue One pointed out when we were talking about it after the movie, I imagine there will be some consequences to this, too, because, like, for 5 years, all these people didn't exist, and then suddenly they're back. So it's gonna... that's probably gonna fuck up some stuff in civilization. Yeah, I think the answer to that, Rogue One, is plot convenience. Like, I enjoyed the movie, but there were a lot of things that, if you held under scrutiny, did not super make sense. But anyway, so Nebula messes with their time machine and brings Thanos back somehow, which I didn't super understand how she did that, because, like, they specifically say they only have enough Pym particles or whatever for her to get back.
Enough what? Pimp particles?
Pym particles.
Pym?
Dr. Pym is Ant-Man's
Pym particles?
Scientist mentor guy. Yeah.
Which
Which was also kind of dumb, because at first I was like, if they only have so many of the particles, why don't they just go back in time and take, before Hank Pym died or whatever, or disappeared, and get more particles? And they do actually do that. But Captain America and Tony do that, not Nebula. So I didn't super understand how Nebula then got Thanos through the time portal and his army. Especially his army, because I thought their whole thing was that they needed the Ant-Man type time travel suit, plus their little bracelet thing, plus the particles in order to time travel properly, and that's how she got back with them. But then I didn't really understand how she was able to get Thanos back through the time portal. maybe they explained it and I didn't catch it, or maybe they were just like, just don't worry about it. But anyway, she does that. Thanos shows up right after Hulk snaps and brings everyone back. He like blows their new headquarters to smithereens, and like that also sort of threw a little bit of my suspension of disbelief, because from what I could tell, the area that the mansion was in, it was private and there weren't like you know, a population around it. It wasn't like in a city or anything. But when he blew that to smithereens, it felt like it was suddenly a much bigger area geographically that just got blown to shit. So, and I know it was just so that they could have their giant battle, but that also sort of made me go like, what? But anyway, Thanos shows up. They all gotta fight him. And then because Hulk, then like Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America are all fighting Thanos, and there's a lot of fan service about it because Thor passed Thor's hammer when he went back in time, so he's like dual wielding the hammer and his new axe that he got in Ragnarok. And then he like loses his hammer at one point, or it's just, you know, on the ground somewhere, and Thanos is about to kill him, but then Mjolnir comes and hits Thanos away from him, and it flies back, and it turns out Cap's got it now, and Cap's fighting with Thor's hammer, and like it's really cool, but also it's like felt very just fan servicey. Oh yeah, that's also true, Rogue One. Like the first shot when those missiles or whatever launch and blow up the mansion, I think it's Ant-Man. He's like not wearing his suit, I don't think, or at least not his helmet, because he was like just talking on the phone to his wife. Or no, maybe it was Hawkeye, actually. Whichever one. I think it was Hawkeye. But yeah, he was like, one of them was just looking out the window at birds to see that there was life again. And then a missile like just launches straight at him and blows him away, and yet he's like fine. And both of those characters are not like super soldiers or gods like Thor and Cap. So they somehow were basically fine. Yeah, exactly, C. Dewey. That's what I was talking about. Ant-Man. But yeah, Hawkeye is like below, and he has to run away from these weird monsters. And somehow the monsters don't outrun him. I'm not sure how he's faster than them, because they're like weird alien dog things, and obviously faster than a human. But I guess that's just another thing where it's like, it's a movie. And he's got the gauntlet, so he's like running away. Yeah, he had a head start, but not that much of a head start. I don't know, that was another thing where I was a little like, okay. Pretty anime boy versus pretty anime boy.
I don't think Marth looks anything like Akechi.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're all fighting, and Thanos seems to still be winning though, and it looks like Captain America is about to try to like sacrifice himself or something to kill him. And then Doctor Strange shows up, and he's like, I brought everybody else, because you brought us back with Hulk's snap. And Doctor Strange like does his little weird magic portal things, and literally everyone from the other movies shows up. And it is pretty badass, but it's also pretty cheesy. But you know, I don't think it's not gonna be not cheesy. So that's a cool moment. And I have to admit, I did not expect a whole big like Lord of the Rings style battle, but that's what they did. And then everyone's fighting, and once again, it seems like, oh no, Thanos might still win, because now Thanos also has a giant army, which was another thing. Like I said, I was like, how did they get there though? I mean, that's another thing I was talking to Rogue One about, and Rogue One mentioned that he thought that they used the Pym particles to shrink his ship that had all of the army on it, but like, that still doesn't super make sense to me. Because it felt like there are way more guys than could have been on that ship, plus all those like space whale things. And once again, how did they have the technology to shrink it? As far as we knew, they weren't able to do that, were they?
They had the technology.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I guess to me, it didn't feel like his ship was that big.
Whose ship? Pym's ship?
Thanos' ship.
Who's Thanos?
It's the guy from Deadpool.
Does he have a big dick?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. He's from Deadpool?
The actor is in Deadpool, too.
Oh, who is he in Deadpool?
He's,
Is he the Russian robot?
No. He's, what's his name, you guys? I know his name.
Really? No.
He's the time traveler guy who they become best friends even though he hates him. Cable, yeah. Yep. I don't think Clark saw Deadpool 2. Did you?
I only saw Deadpool 1.
Yeah, but like, okay, maybe I like just didn't get it, but didn't she need the Pym particles to travel back in forward in time? Did she have more than one? I don't know. Again, I also didn't understand how they even got them in the first place, because I thought they implied that they needed like that bracelet thing. I mean, I guess maybe they just looked at it and copied the technology or something. But I don't know, I'm probably overthinking it. I just remember when I was watching it first, I was like, how did they get there though? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess they do have advanced technology, and even if they couldn't figure out time travel and stuff, maybe once they had access to it, they could just replicate it. Anyway, so that's what happens. His whole army shows up, and there's a huge epic battle. And Thanos looks like he might be winning again, but then Captain Marvel shows up, and she's totally badass, and it's like, why weren't you here earlier?
Space is far away, dude.
Yeah, I guess so. And then there's sort of like a fun little thing where the different characters sort of pass the gauntlet to each other through the battle to get it over to Ant-Man's shitty van, because they destroyed their time machine.
Ant-Man's van.
But they still had the van, which was like the original one, but it's all the way across the battlefield. So like, first one guy has it, and then they give it to Spider-Man, and then they give it to Captain Marvel, and Tom Holland is adorable as always, and has some fun little lines. And they give it to Captain Marvel, and they're like, how are you gonna get past all the guys? And even though Captain Marvel is like totally badass and could totally get past all the guys on her own, they're like, she's not alone. And then all the female characters from all the movies are there, and they're like, we'll help her, hashtag girl power.
Misogyny is solved.
Yeah, and it's like, we're totally feminist, you guys.
Misogyny is solved.
Oh, that part was so cringy. It's like, on one hand, it did make for a really cool like visual with all the badass lady characters together, but it was also very clearly for like, we're totally woke, everyone. hashtag feminism. We didn't. We might have taken, 20 movies for there to be a female superhero movie, but look at this cool scene that happens for 1 minute in this in the 3-hour-long movie.
It was all worth it.
All worth it. Oh, that's another thing. Earlier, to get the Soul Stone, Hawkeye and Black Widow learned that they basically, one of them had to sacrifice the other person, and they both fought over who was going to be the sacrifice, because they're best friends, and it was very sad.
They're best friends?
Yeah.
I thought they were married.
No.
They're not? I thought they were love interests.
I wish. It would have made a lot more sense than the canon love interests. Yeah, they were trying to get to Ant-Man's van to use it to send the stones back in time so Thanos wouldn't get them.
Can we just call it the Ant-Man from
The Ant-Man. But yeah, and then Black Widow ended up being the one to sacrifice herself. And on one hand, I understand that it was more, it had more emotional consequences for it to be her, because she had deeper connections with the other characters than Hawkeye did, mainly because Hawkeye kept getting the shaft in the other movies and didn't really do anything.
Right.
But on the other hand, they killed off their only female original Avenger, and a lot of the other female characters got vanished in the snap. So, especially in the scene where they are all together afterwards, it's just wow. It's just a bunch of white dudes now talking about how sad they are that she's gone. Yep. Cool. But hey, we had a girl power moment later.
Hey, that's not the end of the day. That's what matters.
Yeah, so they do all that. They're trying to get the gauntlet to the Ant-Man. Thanos tries to stop them, and Captain Marvel's about to kick his ass, but then he cheats by removing the Power Stone from the gauntlet and using it to make himself stronger and punch her. And she goes flying somewhere. And then is it Doctor Strange who gives Tony this significant look? I think it's he basically becomes Bran Stark, and he's all looking at Tony from across the battlefield, is you know what you have to do. And then so Tony, because he made the new gauntlet, it's made with his technology, I guess. Yeah. So then he uses his Iron Man suit to basically he attacks Thanos, and Thanos what the fuck are you doing? You're tiny, and he throws him away. And then he snaps his finger, and then nothing happens. It's what the fuck? And he turns it around, and the stones are gone. And turns out Tony has them on his Iron Man hand now.
His iron hand.
His iron hand. Yeah. He's all this is your chance. And then, and the reason they had the Hulk do the original snap to bring everyone back is because they found out from when Thanos snapped earlier that doing it, will basically kill you unless you're some sort of, a super powerful alien god like Thor or Hulk, who had he's the Hulk. But if a human tried to do it, it'd probably kill him. But Tony does it anyway because he's a hero.
Yay.
And he does the snap, and then all the people that Thanos brought disappear instead, including alternate timeline Gamora, which makes sense, but it's a little sad. Part of me was kind of hoping that maybe she would stick around and be with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but another part of me felt like that would kind of be cheating as well. And also, it wouldn't super make sense if she had, because I don't think Tony even knew she was there, so he wouldn't have... Did she stick around? I don't think she did. I didn't see her. She wasn't at Tony's funeral, and at the end when Thor joins the Guardians, Quill is like still sadly looking out. You think she just pieced out? It's possible. I might have missed it, but I didn't notice her anywhere. I guess we didn't see her vanish. But again, if that is the case, how did Tony know to spare her specifically? Did he even know that she was there and good now? She didn't? Did we see her like not turn to dust? Or was she just not on screen? Yeah, a wizard did it. Doctor Strange did it. I don't know, maybe she is around and maybe she'll show up in the next Guardians movie and have to get character development again. But yeah. So all of them are gone now, and they won, but Tony dies. And it's very sad. And then they have a funeral for him. And then Cap is gonna take all the stones back in time.
Oops. Big man.
To when they took them so that they don't fuck up the other timelines. Oh yeah, she does? Yeah, I think I remember that. And then Hulk's like, okay, I'm gonna send you back in time and then I'll bring you back in 5 seconds. And he does it, and then Cap doesn't come back, and it turns out that he like stayed in the past to be with Peggy. And I have mixed feelings about that too. Because on one hand, I'm happy that he got a happy ending, because I definitely expected him to just get killed off in this movie. So I'm happy that, you know, he got, I guess, closure on, because he's been like sad about losing Peggy, and for all of his movies basically, he never really moved on, and he finally got to like, you know, stop having to fight in all the wars and stuff. But on the other hand, it felt weird from like, I mean, this might just be me, but it felt like an odd character choice based on what we knew of him. That he would just like leave all of his friends that he made in the present time. Cause like, he had Peggy in the past, of course, and he loves her. But that was basically it. All of his other friends are in the present, and it also makes for some weird time stuff, which we can talk about in a minute. I'm sure you guys probably want to talk about how time travel worked in this movie. But like, it means there are like, I feel like 2 scenarios. Either he went back in time, and this was always supposed to happen, and this entire time there's been a second Steve Rogers just like living out his until old age and not doing anything when all this other shit happened. And I guess that's sort of believable, because since he already lived through it, he would know that it's fine and he doesn't have to do anything to help them. But it feels weird. And then the other possibility is that by doing that, he changed shit and this is now a new timeline. But if that was the case, wouldn't he like not have reappeared? Wouldn't he have like gone into a branch timeline and stayed there, and then in the normal timeline he would just have vanished? I don't know. Time travel often doesn't make sense. But I guess it's true that they never, in the Agent Carter series, they never like say who she ends up with. And also in like, was it Civil War? They mentioned that she had a husband, but not who. So like, could have been Steve. But also, how did he like keep that from everyone. I guess he just could have worn a disguise and gone on have an alias, but you'd think someone would.
He's Steve's brother.
He's like got one of the most recognizable faces in the world.
Who?
And he's with
Who
the
knows?
person who was his very like publicly his love interest.
Who
You
has
think someone would have like been like, "Hey, your boyfriend looks a lot like your old boyfriend, Captain America." What?
Never mind.
The theory I read said that he time traveled back to the MCU to meet Sam by the lake. What? I don't understand what you're saying, Shidui. Oh. What? You saying he time traveled back to Winter Soldier? And then traveled back to Peggy? I'm very confused about what you're saying. I don't understand. Yeah, me too, Rogue One. That'd be awkward. Uh-huh. So you're saying when he went to return the stones and stayed with Peggy, that was in an alternate timeline. And then to meet with Sam at the end, he had to travel again as old man. Okay. I see. I sort of understand now. So you're saying he went back, returned the stones, but then in the branch timeline where they took the stones and returned them, he stayed with Peggy, and he stayed in that alternate timeline. And then when he was an old man, he traveled back to the normal timeline when he disappeared. I guess? That makes a little more sense. If that's the case.
Does the time travel matter?
I mean, none of what really matters.
I mean, honestly, does it matter? Isn't it more important about the way that his story ended than
Yeah.
how it ended?
Yeah, it is. The people like to nitpick.
Well, people sound like real cool. People sound like real cool people who I'd want to have dinner with.
Time travel is just what time travel has been in narrative since Jules Verne. It's just a storytelling device. True dat.
Who said that?
And it always gets Bucky. Yep. Yeah, has there like ever been a time travel thing that 100% makes sense?
Yes.
What?
With Harry Potter.
But yeah. That's the end of Cap's story and Tony's story. And then Cap gives his shield to Sam, so Sam's gonna be the new Captain America. And he'll probably be buddies with Bucky now, or something. Maybe they'll have a cool team up, which would be neat. And I think Bucky's also gonna be in the prequel Black Widow movie. Which makes sense, because he's like the one who trains her as the Winter Soldier.
Oh, is Scarlett Johansson gonna have her own movie?
Yeah, she's finally gonna have her own movie after her characters died.
Tight.
And then Thor decided to join the Guardians of the Galaxy
Why?
because he thought it would be cool, I guess.
That's so terrible.
He like felt like he didn't like he had this whole like discussion with his mom when he went back in his past, and she was all like, oh, you've always tried to be what everyone wants you to be, the good son, the king, but you should be who you want to be instead. So Thor's like, Valkyrie, you're in charge now. You're gonna be the new ruler, because you're actually good at it.
Pretty good at it.
Yeah, which is fair. And she's like, what are you gonna do? And he's like, I'm gonna hang out with my new friends. And then he joins the Guardians of the Galaxy.
No.
Because Thor is finally confident in being himself and not who he's supposed to be.
Who's he supposed to be?
All super serious leader king guy.
Did you not watch Thor Ragnarok? Boom.
Got him.
I killed all the Phantom Thieves.
Finally.
Item, auto grab. Okay.
I actually really like the banter between Peter Quill and Thor. I think it's pretty funny, so I'm looking forward to that, to more of that.
I fucking hate
Although-
Peter Quill, dude. I fucking can't stand that guy. He's so annoying. I'm sad that Thor's in the Guardians, because that means if I
Yeah.
want to watch Thor, I have to watch fucking Guardians.
Yeah, I'm hoping if he's like a big character in the next Guardians movie, it's done
good
well.
movie.
Cause like I wish Taika Waititi was gonna do it, but I'm pretty sure they confirmed it's not gonna be him. Cause that would be amazing. But I think they I don't super know the details, but from what I've heard, there was some sort of like controversy about the director of Guardians, because he had like
Oh yeah, he said my fucking moron asshole Mike Cernovich like dug up a tweet he made
Yeah.
from 2009. It would be cool if Mike Cernovich died. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, if someone like murders Mike Cernovich, like that person should get like, honestly, a get out of jail free card, because Mike Cernovich is a plague on humanity.
Yeah, and then they fired him, but then I think they brought him back, the director from the previous Guardians movie. Yeah, so he's gonna be directing the new Guardians. Guardians, I liked Guardians 1. Guardians 2 was alright. But hopefully Guardians 3 is good. Disney recently said he handled being fired super well. He's rehired.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I'm mad at Disney now because of that. What? That works?
Yeah, I never saw the new Ghostbusters. He's gonna be in him and the actress who plays Valkyrie are gonna be the main leads in the new Men in Black movie.
They're making a new Men in Black movie?
And that looks fun. It looks like it's kind of gonna just be Thor Ragnarok spin-off AU. Disney was faced with a fucking PR quandary.
No, they wouldn't. Don't do anything Mike Cernovich ever says. They weren't faced with a PR quandary. Whoever said that's wrong.
So Dewey said that.
Oh, he's wrong.
But yeah, so Thor's with the Guardians now. And Hawkeye got his family back, so he's happy about that, I guess. But he lost his best friend, so that sucks. And everyone's sad about Tony.
Tony Stark sucks. Does anybody like Tony Stark?
A lot of people like Tony.
Why? Name one good thing about Tony Stark.
He's sassy. Spider-Man got all his friends back. Yeah, that's true.
No, his dad's dead. Tony Stark.
Yeah.
We just said that Tony Stark died.
And yeah, everyone's all happy now, I guess, because they defeat Thanos. There definitely won't be any consequences from them rematerializing everyone. Oh yeah, when they went back in time, Tony got to have a conversation with his dad and got a little bit of closure with that.
Sorry, got it, Jack.
But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go, because like, the first Avengers is fine, Age of Ultron is bad, Infinity War was pretty good.
So you
I
think...
didn't know how this one would go.
So in your opinion, the first Avengers is fine and Age of Ultron is bad.
Yeah.
I can't
You
imagine
would
how
hate
bad
Age of Ultron.
must be.
Age of Ultron was boring.
But it had the Pinocchio song.
It's true.
How could that be boring?
See, Dewey enjoyed it. He cried.
At Age of Ultron?
No, I think he's talking about this one.
Oh. I cried when Thanos died.
Yeah. I cried a little bit when Tony died. Mainly because, like, Peter and Pepper were both saying their goodbyes.
Peter and Pepper.
Peter and Pepper.
Those are both names for a dick.
See, Dewey says he was indeed talking about Endgame.
Tony surrounds himself with phallic named people.
Sounds like him. I was kind of disappointed by the lack of Captain Marvel. I mean, I get that it's probably because if she'd been around, she would have just ended things a lot quicker and they wouldn't have as much of a movie and as much drama. But at the same time, because like Infinity War, the end credit scene ended with them being like, oh, Captain Marvel's gonna show up, and then Captain Marvel was like the last movie that we had, and it was also like, oh, Captain Marvel's gonna be in fucking Endgame and gonna wreck Thor, or I mean, not Thor, she's gonna wreck Thanos' shit. And she does, but also she's only there in like the very beginning and the very end. And I wanted to see her more. I think when I was talking to Rogue One, he mentioned how like, if you didn't watch Captain Marvel and this was your only like exposure to her, she would seem like such a non-character. And it's true, because she basically she showed up to be a badass in the beginning, and then she left to go help other planets for the entire movie. And then in the climactic battle, she shows up again to help them win. And that's basically all she does. And have that hashtag girl power moment.
I love hashtag girl power.
So I think that was one of my main disappointments with the movie. But overall, I liked it. It surprised me in a lot of ways, in a good way, and I felt entertained the whole time. And it had a lot of little good moments. It did have a lot of kind of cringy fan servicey moments, like the girl power thing and Cap with Thor's hammer was a little weird.
No, that's
Just
cool.
A lot of things that, like, on one hand, it was cool, but on the other hand, kind of really cheesy also. It was the same thing with Tony's last line.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. Nah, Thanos was like, I have the Infinity Stones now, and he says this thing which he also said earlier before they killed him, where he's like, I am inevitable. And then he realizes he doesn't have the stones, and Tony has them, and he's got them, and he's like, I am Iron Man. And then he snaps. And on one hand, it's like, shout out to the first Iron Man movie, because that's like the last thing he says in that movie. But also it was like, well, a little cheesy. But also, I don't know what would be better for him to say, I guess. Rogue One has a dark fan theory. Tony dies at the beginning, and the whole rest of the movie is his fever dream as he's about to die out in space and Nebula.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
If we...
Rogue One, your mind.
Rogue One, I fucking...
It was all a dream.
Hey, you wanna write some creepypastas with me? Hey, you wanna start a YouTube channel called 10 Dark Theories for your favorite childhood cartoons? Turns out the whole time Jimmy Neutron's house because he had a brain tumor. And he wasn't a boy genius, it was all just in his big brain tumor.
My fan theory is that the entire MCU was just a giant D&D campaign by Stan Lee.
My fan theory is that the entire MCU is also inside of Thanos' ass.
That too.
Oh, okay. Bad job.
It would be better for him to say, now you're gonna fucking die, you giant purple turd. Eat shit, motherfucker. That'd be pretty good.
You just want to take your own last stock?
Bye!
Okay.
But yeah, that's basically my thoughts. What do you guys think? Anything really stand out to you in the movie? Anything you want to discuss? What did you love? What did you hate?
Well, who do you think was the best Avenger? Who's your favorite Avenger in the movie? Not just your favorite Avenger in general.
I actually really liked what they did with Nebula. They gave her like a lot of good character development, I thought. And a lot of like, I guess, her whole thing with Thanos, because like she, in a way, she was like Thanos' biggest victim because he was like her abusive father. And she finally, and especially when they go back in time and like meet her past self, it really shows how much she's grown, because like her past self would like do anything to please him.
Anything?
And when all she really wanted was like his approval and stuff, but now Nebula actually, you know, cares about other people and has a sense of self-worth and all that. So I thought they did a good job with her. I think the acting was on point, especially Gwyneth Paltrow, ScarJo, and Tony.
No, Gwyneth Paltrow. Ugh.
Gwyneth Paltrow was barely in it.
Yeah, and also she sucks ass.
Like, she was in the beginning when she convinced Tony to do the time machine, and then she helped in the battle. And then she was sad when Tony died.
Who the fuck is Gwyneth Paltrow in it?
She's Pepper Potts.
Oh. I immediately hate Pepper Potts.
Thanos' characterization was good too. He was like a completely different person in the past. His sacrifices in Infinity War changed him. That was the scene I liked, when she convinced Tony to do the thing. I get you. Yeah, I mean, for me, Thanos is an okay villain. Like, he's probably a lot better in the comics, but in the Marvel cinematic universe, I'd never super thought he was like that great of a villain to me. But that said, I thought that the actor did a phenomenal job. Like, I think the reason I liked Thanos at all was because the actor did such a really great performance. I don't know. I think it's because I feel like his motivations are kind of like I know that, at least in my interpretation, his whole thing of like, oh, I'm gonna kill half the universe to save the universe was just his excuse for wanting to like play God. I mean, that's just my interpretation. Maybe he did genuinely think that he was doing good, but I didn't think so. Especially in this movie, I thought like past Thanos sort of shows his true colors and is just straight up like, oh, I'm just gonna make a new universe in my image now. But I guess because he had that motivation, or at least said he did, it just felt kind of dumb to me, because I know like a lot of people have pointed out the error in his plan, because it's like he says it's because, you know, there's finite resources in the universe and too many people, and they're all going to use it up, and then everyone's going to die. But it's like, if you have Infinity Stones that can literally do anything, why don't you just make more resources? You know, instead of killing everyone. And it's like, that's why I think it's just his excuse to want to, again, like, show off how powerful he is. And he's just saying it as a way to justify it. But it's still a dumb excuse or reason. So that never really clicked with me.
Yeah, I think if you read it as he like legitimately thinks this is a good idea, he becomes a terrible villain.
Yeah.
He becomes like really stupid and like just, I don't know.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, and like you're saying, C. Dewey, he's smart about other stuff. He's like been supposedly pulling the strings behind everything for the entire 20 movies or whatever to get the stones. He was like responsible for Loki doing all that shit in the first Avengers movie, and he like was behind Ronan and like all this other stuff. He was like the puppet master, and yet this is his giant like plan.
No.
Yeah, he also killed half the animals, so unless everyone becomes vegan after the snap, he's solved nothing. Yeah. I think that problem is just a big hang-up for me. It sort of kept me from seeing him as a good villain. And again, I think he's probably better in the comics. I don't know a lot about Thanos, but from what I do know, his motivation is more about like wanting to impress Lady Death, which I think makes a lot more sense.
I mean, it's like weird and hard to relate to, but at least it's like a villain.
At least it is like, you know, it's a selfish motivation that you can understand.
Like a motivation that like doesn't sound like what? Doesn't sound like a middle schooler came up with that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'll look at it.
Don't look at it.
Oh yeah, I agree. There were a lot of good little humorous moments that I enjoyed. Like I said, especially when they like go back in time and make fun of and then they made fun of Captain America saying "Hail Hydra." That was pretty great. Although that does once again sort of call into question the time travel thing, because then even if they bring the stone back in that timeline, aren't those guys gonna think Captain America is secretly a Hydra agent? So then they'll treat him differently when like Winter Soldier happens. But I digress.
Am I dead? Oh no. No, I'm dead.
Anyway, the best villain in the MCU is still Killmonger.
I'm bored of this game.
Okay.
I want to play a different game.
Do it. I feel like, I don't know, to me, Doctor Strange is like really boring. And it might be because his movie was boring, and their individual movies are where they get most of their character development. So, because of that, Doctor Strange has, like, to me, is just not very likable.
To me...
Like, as much as I love... I can never pronounce his name.
Don't say it. You don't love him. He sucks.
What?
Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, I don't love Benedict Cumberbatch. I was talking about Mads Mikkelsen? Mikkelsen. I love Mads Mikkelsen.
He's in Strange Doctor.
Yeah, and he was like one of the main antagonists, if not, I don't remember if he was one of or the main antagonist in Doctor Strange.
Doctor?
And even he couldn't save that movie.
What the fuck? Where's my whiskey?
I mean, I feel like it's yet another one where, like, he's probably a lot better in the comics. But I just found his movie really boring. And his character not very likable.
Because of Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, that too. But yeah.
Oops.
What else? Any other thoughts on Endgame, you guys? Where do you guys think it's gonna go next? I think the Doctor Strange movie should have been a period piece like Captain America, because Doctor Strange is all about 70s psychedelic shit in the comics. That's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, that would have been better, probably.
Yeah, it could have been like Austin Powers.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cool moment when Sam got Cap's shield. I think the ending was bittersweet in that they lost both Tony and Cap, but now they're sort of moving forward into the next sort of phase, I guess. Although I wonder, like, which of the original Avengers are still going to be big names. I feel like Thor probably is, because he's with the Guardians now, and also he got so popular with Ragnarok. They're probably going to want to take advantage of that and have him still be a main character in the MCU. They might do that for the Hulk, but I kind of doubt it. I feel like he's not as popular still. But who knows? Spider-Man and Black Panther will probably be big characters now. We know they're getting their own movies again. And Black Widow's gonna get a prequel. Captain Marvel's probably gonna get another movie. Nice. And maybe they'll introduce some new guys. I hope they introduce... I guess the Scarlet Witch is still there. Vision's gone. I hope they introduce the Young Avengers at some point, but I don't know how, unless they retcon stuff.
They should just retcon stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why it matters. I mean, they did fucking Endgame. Like, do new stuff. Do over. It's done. The payoff happened.
Yeah, I don't know, like, how they're gonna continue stuff necessarily in the same way, because like I said, the stones were what connected all the movies, and that's what they built up to. So are they gonna build up to something else now? Spider-Man, Black Panther, Sam and Bucky, and Captain Marvel. It'd be interesting to see if they can pull off another Doctor Strange film. It'd be hard. Why do you think it'd be hard?
Because the first one was so terrible.
I mean, I didn't like the first one, so I don't care if they do another Doctor Strange personally, but I don't know why they wouldn't unless they just, were like, oh, it didn't make enough money.
Yeah, I love that. That's what makes it hard.
Yeah. Because it's obvious he was best as a supporting character. Yeah, that's possible.
I need to miss one. Fuck, I'm dead.
No.
Just do me, daddy.
30th place. Level up. Are there any characters you guys will want to see come into the MCU from the comics that haven't been yet? Or any like minor characters that you'd want to have their own movie? I want to know if they have any new characters in the wings. Yeah. I mean, I imagine probably. They're introducing Mysterio, right? In the next Spider-Man. I don't know very much about Mysterio. But apparently, I think it's Jake Gyllenhaal. It's gonna be him. Yeah, they're gonna make another Miss Marvel. Looking forward to that.
Miss Marvel?
Captain Marvel.
Oh. Is Captain Marvel the same thing as Miss Marvel?
I don't know, in the comics there might be a different person that's called Miss Marvel.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure.
Oh no. I made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, maybe, like, now Disney owns whatever studio had Fantastic Four, right? So maybe they'll make their own Fantastic Four and it'll actually be good. I don't super care about the Fantastic Four personally, but I guess that'd be a way to introduce, like, Doctor Doom.
He's a pretty cool guy. Really.
And they already introduced the Skrull.
Whoa, holy fucking shit. Dude, what?
In the comics, the new Miss Marvel is a Pakistani-American teenager with stretchy powers who lives in New Jersey. She made a big splash when she came out. Oh yeah, I think I saw about that. That'd be neat. How rude. Yeah, the MCU could definitely use more diversity.
No.
They
had that girl power moment, Chelsea.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. They don't need any more. Doctor Doom would be awesome if they could pull it off, but their casting has been so dead on I wouldn't be too worried.
Who do you think would be a good Doctor Doom?
Yeah, who do you think?
Which actor should play Doctor Doom?
I don't know a whole lot
Is
about
Doctor Doom, like, I just know that he's a robot in a cape or something.
Wasn't he like a sorcerer or something, and also knows like he's like a genius and has a lot of robots and technology and shit? I'm gonna be honest, most of my exposure to Doctor Doom comes from reading the Young Avengers comics, because he's one of the villains in one of the arcs. And he's like trying to get married to the Scarlet Witch to take her powers.
Yo, that's gross. I hate that. Sign me not up. Do whatever the opposite of signing me up is.
I wonder what Scarlet Witch will do now.
Take me off the list.
He's a genius, scientist, sorcerer, and dictator of an Eastern European country who believes he deserves to rule the world.
Who hasn't been there at least a couple times in their life? I keep getting bezoned.
He's lawful evil, which makes him interesting to a lot of people. He sometimes is a good guy. That's cool.
Yeah, you think being lawful evil's cool now, Chelsea?
Yes. My new character is gonna be lawful evil now.
Oh my god. I don't really, that doesn't surprise me. I honestly don't think you guys have ever played any good characters. All your characters are like pretty much evil.
Yeah. I saw a pretty good post of it's like what you expect in D&D is like Lord of the Rings type adventure. And what you actually get is It's Always Sunny in the Forgotten Realms. Well, at least Artie's not playing with us anymore. His characters were very morally ambiguous.
A lot of moral gray area, let's call it. I keep getting like first to get knocked out. Like, I don't know what I did to make people so mad at me.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they'll integrate the X-Men into the MCU. Do they own that studio now? Do you guys know? Yeah, I love Wiccan and Hulkling. Like I said, I do hope the Young Avengers get put into the MCU eventually. That'd be really cool. And actually, you know, good for their diversity, because their team has a lot of characters that are, you know, not white and not straight.
What if they made all their characters white and straight?
Then I would riot.
Oh yeah, we made the Scarlet Witch a white straight guy.
They own X-Men now? Now I'm just picturing, like, if they keep the current X-Men universe that they've been doing with, like, Days of Future Past and shit, and just mush it together with the MCU, that would make so many, like, continuity errors. Would that Quicksilver, like, meet this Scarlet Witch, and they'd be like, oh yeah, we're totally twins, you guys.
We're hella related.
I know you already had a twin named Quicksilver that got killed off in one of the other movies, but I'm here now. Don't worry about it. Don't question it.
Don't worry. Hey, don't freaking worry, kid.
They own X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool now. I mean, Deadpool is easy to put into anything because he'll just make a joke out of it. Fourth wall jokes. I mean, he already did in, like, Deadpool 2, he called Cable Thanos. Yeah, they don't own Spider-Man, they just have a deal with Sony, which makes sense. So Spider-Man is such a huge, popular brand. Sony is not gonna let go of that unless they, like, literally have no other choice.
I hope they have no other choice.
Disney has to, like, actually buy Sony to get Spider-Man, which, who knows?
Yeah.
At this point,
I can't wait for it all to be one guy.
yeah, soon it'll just be one giant corporation that owns everything.
Including you.
Yep.
Pretty soon Disney's gonna buy us, Chelsea.
Oh. Well, maybe we'll actually make money then.
No. Disney's not gonna pay us to do something we do for free. I'm so sick of these fucking clocks that I keep getting. Give me a good one, Nintendo.
Yeah, what if they brought in Squirrel Girl? That'd be cool.
That's not.
Squirrel Girl is the best Marvel character.
You're joking. This is a funny goof on me because I don't know about Marvel and there's no such thing as Squirrel Girl because that'd be so stupid.
She beat Thanos, man.
That's Chelsea. I love it. I love when you love to make like old jokes. It's like the essence. It's the formula. We have built a successful.
She
media
single-handedly
empire on.
beat several of Marvel's biggest villains.
Here you go again. Again with that classic Chelsea.
She's the most powerful superhero.
I love it
in all of existence.
These jokes, they're tickling my funny bone. Haha! Yay! But seriously, Chelsea, there's no Squirrel Girl. That's not real. If you say it's real, then I'm gonna go to Marvel headquarters and kill myself. I go right to their doorstep and blow my
Watch
fucking
out.
brains out.
Watch out!
None of these are helpful right now, actually, so let's just fucking die. Oh, I'm so dead. Oh my god.
No.
It's over. It's over.
I think we're about wrapping up on Endgame. Any last thoughts, you guys?
Any last words, Avengers?
And also, did you guys have any interest in talking about Game of Thrones or She-Ra? I know
Well,
C. Dewey hasn't watched the newest episode, so he probably doesn't want spoilers. And
Everybody dies.
Rogue One doesn't watch Game of Thrones, so probably not.
All characters die.
all men must die.
I don't know if either of you watch She-Ra.
If neither of you watch She-Ra, then what are you doing?
Yeah, if you don't watch She-Ra, go watch She-Ra.
Yeah, go watch She-Ra. You.
If you've been missing space lesbians because Steven Universe is dead now, go watch She-Ra to fill that void.
All I'm saying is that She-Ra is the new space lesbians. Friendship ended with Steven Universe. Now She-Ra is my best friend.
Watch out! Watch out! Clark, watch out!
Okay.
They're all pointing lasers at you or something.
No, I don't know what I did.
They just know how good you are, and they're like, we gotta stop him before he gets too far.
I'm not that good, though, is the problem with this game theory.
Endgame made $1.3 billion this weekend. Damn.
Yeah, I made that much money before. But I'm cool. Very
Yeah, I heard it, like, might actually beat
Titanic.
James Cameron's Avatar. I know I was talking to, like, some coworkers, and a lot of them didn't get tickets ahead of time, and they weren't able to. Because everything was taken up. I mean, you know, it is the climactic end to all the cinematic universe has been building up to. And while there are a lot of fans, including us, that,
Don't
well,
include me.
I mean,
you sick little
us
cabal.
meaning me in the chat, who will still continue to go see movies. I imagine there are probably some who are like, okay, this was the end of this arc. I don't have to see any more now.
I don't have to watch movies anymore now.
Yeah. I did it. It's over.
God, I need to place these
Hollywood is canceled.
things like right now. Great, I solved it, but now I like have this to deal with, so it's basically over. I am being targeted by everyone.
I just came out to have a good time, and I'm feeling so attacked right now.
Because I have all capital letters in my name.
Probably.
Everyone thinks I'm being too loud.
Okay, well, if we're not going to talk about any other topics today, should probably wrap it up, I guess. You want to just play one more game, or?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, guys, we're gonna end it soon. If you have any last thoughts, say them now.
Same now.
See who says you can talk about Game of Thrones, but I'll sign off. We're probably not going to.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we were gonna talk to Game of Thrones about Leland.
Yeah. Leland, who isn't up to date with Game of Thrones, doesn't care. We'll probably do a Game of Thrones episode when the final episode comes out.
Yeah.
Chat about that.
I'll be like, I'm glad that it's over.
What are y'all playing for fun right now? Nothing. We only stream. I've actually been, I've been playing Ace Attorney, because I got it on the Switch, the original trilogy. And then, you know, we always play Splatoon.
I've been playing some Smash Bros, but I don't know, man. It's just not that good, in my opinion. I just don't like it that much.
Yeah.
I might get Mortal Kombat 11. Been very strongly considering it, because there's no good 2D fighters out, guys. They're all bad. Street Fighter V sucks, and I wish Street Fighter was good, but it hasn't been good for well over a decade.
My job's going alright. It hasn't been as busy as it was in like Christmas time, which is good. That was a nightmare. But it's been a little more chill lately. Rogueone's been playing Wind Waker at home, Oracle of Ages at work, and recently beat Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Nice.
Nice.
Dewey's been playing Borderlands 2 with his friend Scott.
That's cool.
And I assume he meant Destiny 2, not Density 2.
Right. He might mean Density 2.
Density 2.
I love Density, dude. That was my favorite franchise. Pyramid. That goes there. Goes there. That goes there. This goes here. This goes here. This goes here. This goes here.
Hell yeah, see Dewey. You gotta get Breath of the Wild, it's so good.
That goes there.
I don't know if Final Fantasy IX is good.
It's amazing.
Clark says it's good. So,
Final Fantasy IX.
yes, get both of those games.
Oh, this is bad. This is a bad situation to be in.
When is Breath of the Wild VR coming out?
Tomorrow.
What?
What? Are you for real?
For real? It's Breath of the Wild third person?
Yeah.
How's that gonna work? Or how's that gonna work in VR?
I don't honestly know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they change it so it'll be first person, or maybe it'll just be like, you're like just kind of like you're standing in the Breath of the Wild, like Hyrule, and you see Link and you can control him, which is kind of weird. But maybe it'll be like, you know, you're there.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Nope. That's also bad. I've messed up. I've irrevocably destroyed this run.
No.
Yeah, that's not gonna do any good. Okay, maybe we can save it. That's nothing. No!
Never really cared too much about VR, but I'm interested in that because I like Breath of the Wild so much.
Same. Okay, I don't care. I'm done.
No.
Fuck video games. Well, everyone,
Thanks for hanging out.
superheroes are real.
Thanks for chatting with me.
Superheroes.
Rogue One and C. Dewey.
Superheroes are come in many shapes and sizes, and some of these shapes and sizes are us. We're superheroes, so.
Aw.
And you know what?
Not all heroes wear capes.
Not all heroes wear capes.
If you're watching on YouTube and you liked chatting with us, leave us a comment. Check out our other stuff. Subscribe. All that jazz.
Ring that. Smash that bell. Dong that bell.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Good song, C. Dewey.